Morning. My name is Eric Roy. I'm a carpenter instructor here at Fairfield, California. And early this morning, we're gonna demonstrate on how to build a basic concrete form. So the tools you're gonna need, skill saw, tape measure, chalk box, speed square. I see you, Tim. And if you have to take things apart, a cast paw. So here, what we have first, the material you're gonna need for a wooden concrete form, sheet of plywood, some studs, and a bottom and top plate. So basically a concrete form, you're building like a cake mold for concrete. Like my son asked me the other week, we were driving by a bridge and he asked me, how does the concrete stay in place as they pour it? And I had to explain to him, it's like a cake mold. So you're gonna have two forms that come up together and you pour the center of it, the concrete cures, and you strip your panels and you have your mold. So your first step in this is the layout for the studs. In concrete formwork, in not all, but the majority of it, your stud layout will be 1 foot centers. There's a little trick to that I like to do. Some people just mark center and they just eyeball center with their studs. So here, we're gonna do layout. Let me explain this first. So your studs, these are your studs here. They're gonna be on edge on your panel. So a basic dimensional lumber here is 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So half of your 1.5 inches, as we'll show you here in this layout, I like to go to my 1 foot center. I go to every foot and I fall back 3/4 of an inch and I run. I go every foot and I fall back 3/4 of an inch and run. Not much mouth to it. Then that way my board lands on the edge of board instead of center, and it's a true center instead of edge, as you can see here. 5 foot centers, 1/2 inch is 3/4. You just fall back 3/4 of an inch. So today I'm gonna demonstrate. This is a 4x6 panel. I have 8 foot top plates. So this is what I want to show you here. Your plywood is 8 foot 4x8. Here I have a 4x6. So I don't want to cut my plates at 6 foot exactly. I'm going to cut them 1/4 inch short. That way, when panels butt together, as you get 2 panels like this one here, this is perfect. As they butt together, the plywood will hit before the top plate. So you don't want a huge gap here. So I cut my top plate 1/4 inch short so it's nice and tight. So let me recut these real quick second. Now you want to transfer your marks onto the other plate. You just take your speed square, go across and run. Some people put an X. Sometimes they'll put an X on the side. Sometimes I just put a line that just lets myself or whoever else is working with me know where the 2x4 goes. All right. This is your bottom and top plate. Now the fun starts. We get to put it all together. So here you're just gonna lay them out. I like to explain this as a sandwich. Does it make sense in my mind? When I first started, I had no clue what I was doing. So I'm building a sandwich. I got a top piece of bread, a bottom piece of bread, and I'm putting in all my meat. Or whatever, whatever word you want to use. That's just, sometimes it helps people understand how to build it. So I like to lay them out right where they go. Right, it makes you more efficient, so you're not going back and forth after everyone is done. Okay. Unfortunately, I got my wrong glasses on today, so it's going to be quite exciting for you to watch. So here, I'm going to use 16 sinkers for these panels. Right, I roll my nails in my bag, so when I'm ready to nail, they're all face the same direction. Just makes it a little easier for yourself. It's going to take me a couple minutes here. Just bear with me. So here I like to put my heel on the stud, my toe on the plate, and I'll make sure my stud isn't overhanging. Sometimes you gotta tap it around. Then you're gonna get 2 nails in every stud. Granted, I am not as fast as I used to be. So I kind of enjoy this, especially when I was out in the field. Always keeps you, how can I say, keeps you in shape a little bit. A lot of times you probably have, if you're building multiple panels, you have a nail gun, but we're gonna use a hammer. See here, I like to leave my end stud in as well. I don't like to keep it totally flush with my plate. That way it won't interfere with the existing panel. Anyway. And right now I have one of my coworkers, Milton. He's gracious enough to take time out of his morning to help me. And me and Milton, we have worked on the same job, but never met each other. So, but Milton also is, his specialty is concrete. Is that what you'd say?
Yes.
Yeah. It's almost done here with this part. I'm getting warmed up, so I've done this in a while. 2 more. So, right now, we have the frame of the form. Very simple. Basic shapes, squares and rectangles. Now, we have to put the plywood on. And a lot of times people think you just throw it on and nail it on, but we have to make this square. You can see this racks around. It's probably not square. So what I like to tell people or students, your plywood is a huge framing square. As long as you have 2 factory edges, be your 90 degrees. So that's what we're going to use to square up this panel. So like I said, my plates are cut 1/4 inch short. So my plywood can hang over 1/8 of an inch on each side. Now I'm not going to measure that 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to feel with my finger. So here, I'm going to line up my bottom. I'm going to line up my edge. I want to make sure I have the same reveal close enough hanging over on both sides. Here I have a little bit more, which is fine. So once I'm happy with my reveal, I'm going to nail off the bottom. And you're going to use either 8 or 6 sinkers. Today we have 8s. They're a little smaller. So these are for your plywood. I'm not going to nail it off like I would out in the field. Do it enough to keep it square. So now I got my bottom nice and flush. Both ends are hanging over the studs. Now I'm going to run up the side. So over here, as you can see, I don't have the same reveal hanging over as I do at the bottom. So all I got to do is go to the opposite end. Milton, if you want to show this part. You can see how the stud is sticking past my plywood. That's why I only nail the bottom, so I can tap it over. I got reveal, and then this side, I have the same reveal. So with that being said, all I have to do is tack, put another one in the middle, then run across the top. Run down the edge. Now out in the field, I would nail straight through the center on every stud, and this is going to give you one side of your concrete wall. This is your cake mold. So let's say that's my face. You put this on your layout line like so, and you'd have a bunch of snap ties in here, whalers on this side, and then there's a little more to it. Then they pour the concrete in here. It would cure and harden. The next day you strip it, and you have whatever shape you want to form. Thank you.